morning. Shabbat Shalom. So, yesterday I started with the Pope joke, and I know people expecting another Pope joke today, so here it comes. So it's a beautiful Sunday afternoon at the Vatican, and the Pope wants to go for a ride. So he comes down the steps of the palace, and he sees the brand new, beautiful limousine that is reserved just for him, and he's thinking, it would be great if I could drive it. They always do everything for me. So he goes to his chauffeur, and he goes, excuse me, can we go for a ride? And the chauffeur goes, Your Holiness, absolutely. Where do you want to go? He said, well, actually, could you sit in the back? I want to drive. Well, that's really not the way it's supposed to be. Well, do you mind? I mean, I'm the Pope. And so the chauffeur says, of course. So he sits in the back, kind of uncomfortable, but he sits in the back, and the Pope gets at the wheel, and he really hasn't driven much in his life, so he's not the best driver. So he's driving, and pretty soon he's like speeding and not really staying on the right side of the road. It's a mess. So he gets stopped by a police officer. And the police officer stops and gets to the window, and he goes, excuse me, I need the driver's license, insurance, and registration, please. And the Pope goes, I don't have any of those. The police officer goes, excuse me, he says, I don't have any of those. I really don't have any. Stay here. He goes back to his car. He calls his superior, and he goes, okay, I got a situation here. I just stopped somebody, and I think, I don't know, but I think it's somebody important. And the officer on the other line goes, you mean like the mayor? I go, no. This is more serious than that. This is not the mayor. Oh, you mean like a senator? No. Something more. Governor? No, bigger. What do you mean bigger? I mean, who can be bigger? And then the police officer goes, well, I think it's Jesus because the Pope is driving. So, I always try to teach heresy in my jokes. All right, so let's see if this works now. Okay, so yesterday I told you a little bit about Shalom and Messiah. For those of you who are here for the first time today, my name is Olivier Melnick, and I was for 26, almost 27 years serving with Chosen People Ministries in the U.S. and on the French board of Chosen People. I am still on the French board. Very glad to serve on that board now for I think the 12th year. But this last February, I parted ways in good terms. We're very, very good friends with the ministry. I love everybody at Chosen People. I think at least Chosen People Canada loves me because here I am. But the jury's still out. Okay, jury's still out. No, it was all good. But you'll understand why later in my presentation why I had to make that move. But let me tell you, so why do we exist? Well, Shalom and Messiah, so first of all, it's shalomandmessiah.com. We exist to expose and fight anti-Semitism, to equip and mobilize Christians, and to lead Jewish people to the Messiah. And really those, for the times we live in right now, are interconnected. And this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because I saw, as the Lord was pulling me towards something that was very specific, very, very focused, that would have been difficult to do only that full-time through the venue of Chosen People Ministry. So I had to make that move. So those are my books that you can find on Amazon and on our website. The first one, Conspired, actually there's still a few copies left here that on the back table. I didn't bring the other ones. They're all on Amazon and on our website. And my newest one is 50 Important Questions. You know somebody Jewish, now what? It's a little manual on how to witness to Jewish people. And so that's for the books. This is Shalom and Messiah YouTube. I post a lot of videos. I do a daily devotional that I send in an email. It gets posted privately on YouTube now, but if you sign up, I'll show you at the end of this presentation where to sign up. You'll get the daily devotional in a video and in a text every morning of the week, and just as a text during the weekend. Like some of you might be already subscribed and got yours this morning. So make sure you visit and subscribe. I have all kinds of great friends of mine and great people that I invite to do interviews on my YouTube channel. I enjoy doing that quite a bit. So the topic that I want to talk about today is the Jewish world after October 7th. You've heard it already several times, and in a sense, this is a little bit why, or probably a lot why, Jorge decided to do this conference on the topic of anti-Semitism and the support of Israel, because something happened on October 7th that changed everything. It changed everything. And so yesterday, I spent the evening telling you, quite fast, I know, told you very fast, give you the history of anti-Semitism from the closing of the biblical canon to the Holocaust. And now here we are, we're going to talk about the modern anti-Semitism, what happened on October 7th, but more importantly, what we can do to make a difference. And that's going to be a huge challenge at the end of this presentation. And so I'm kind of excited being able to share it with you. The slides from yesterday and from today, I always give away my slides. My slides are my notes. I don't have notes in front of me. My slides are my notes, so I will be looking at the slides and adding things. But they're yours to keep. I have them on the website. There's a way to connect with us, and you'll get the slides as PDFs, and you can print them, teach from them, share them with people. I just ask that you don't change anything. If you do, don't tell me. But use them, share them, please. That's what they're for. So the Jewish world after October 7th. Some of those slides are not going to be easy to look at, and I just want to warn you. I don't see too many young people in the room here. I see a few, so there's going to be a warning at some point. So. On October 7, 2023, Hamas launched a major terrorist attack from the Gaza Strip. No news here, you know that. It turned out to be the heaviest Jewish death toll in one day since the Holocaust. Some people even called it Holocaust 2.0. Not in the numbers, of course, but in the atrocity and the intensity of such an attack in one day, focusing on only Jewish people. I want to talk about Hamas for a few minutes to demystify a few things. Hamas took over Gaza Strip in 2006. So, if anything, since 2006 or 2005, before the election, the occupier of Gaza is Hamas. Don't get me started. But it's been given to them. They have the authority to lead there, to do whatever they want in that strip. The current Hamas leader is Yahya Sinwar on the left, and Fatah leader in the Palestinian territories is Mahmoud Abbas. Mahmoud Abbas is a very ethical person. He is in the, I think, 18th year of his 4-year term. So, it's... So you thought you spent a lot of time, 40 years on the board, but he's 17 years or 18 years on his... in a 4-year term that he's supposed to have, but he's still there, hanging on to his power. Those are the two leaders, but I want to focus on Hamas a little bit, and because there are some misconceptions about Hamas. Hamas is the Islamic resistance movement, known as Araka al-Mukawama al-Islamiyya, and it makes the acronym HMS. Just like TNK in our circles is the acronym of Torah, Nevi'im, Ketuvim, and we have to add A's in there to make it a pronounceable word. Tanakh. Well, Hamas would not be pronounceable if you didn't put those A's in there, so now it becomes Hamas. So the false idea that Hamas has been picked as a name by these people because it means violence in Hebrew is wrong. It has nothing to do with it. It fits the bill, but it's not why they picked it. They couldn't care less that it means violence in Hebrew, though it has connotation of violence. It's the way the word is spelled with those letters. It was created in 1988 as a chapter of the Muslim Brotherhood, which was itself created in 1928. The Muslim Brotherhood slogan, which is not really different from Hamas, is Allah is our objective, the Prophet is our leader, Quran is our law, Jihad is our way, dying in the way of Allah is our highest hope. Now, some of the articles of the Hamas charter, a lot of them reiterate the Muslim Brotherhood slogan. The reason why I'm telling you all this is because I'm going to tell you what somebody else is saying about Hamas, and I want you to have the truth. And remember, you'll get all the slides, okay? Article 13, there's no negotiated settlement possible. Jihad is the only answer. So it's really not a matter of sharing land, sharing more land, taking all they want is everything, no Jews. That's been clear. They claim that Jewish influence over the whole world. Article 32 promotes a 1904 hoax known as the Protocols of the Elders of Zion. I'll show you some pictures of that in a minute. Article 33 asks Muslims worldwide to unite for the liberation of Palestine. We are starting to see some of that, especially on U.S. and Canadian and other parts of the world on campuses, when the youth has no concept of history. They don't know what's going on. They're clueless, so they go for social justice or whatever feels good. So this is some covers of the Protocols of the Elders of Zion. This is a booklet that claims that a group of Jewish leaders got together to plot to control the world, political parties and the banks and government and all kinds of different things. It's supposed to be the minutes of the first Zionist Congress in 1897. It's a hoax. It was first published in 1904. It's been debunked. Even though it was debunked in early 1900, it was used by Henry Ford. He published it in the Dearborn Independent in the 30s, personally published it and continued the lies. And it's still being published. You can actually buy it on Amazon. Don't waste your money. You can also find it for free as a PDF online, and it's not worth reading. But it's still being produced and distributed. The Protocols of the Elders of Zion. So, and Hamas pushes that view and feeds it to their people and whoever wants to listen to it. So this is Martin Griffin. I could not connect the audio this morning, but this was an interview with Martin Griffiths, who serves as the Undersecretary General for Humanitarian Affairs and Emergency Relief Coordinator at the United Nations. That's a short title right there. He claims that Hamas is not a terrorist group. This is a subtitle of what he's saying on the audio. I have the audio. I can send it to you. It's not. Couldn't find it this morning to link it to the video here, to the presentation. It was an interview with the Australian channel Sky News in February 2024, and he says in there that we clearly understand what Hamas is all about. Hamas is not a terrorist group for us. Us being the United Nation, or the United Nauseous, or the United Nothing. You pick. So Hamas members are not political activists, they're not militants, they're not resistance fighters, they're not freedom fighters, they are terrorists. End of story. And they thrive on false narratives and historical revisionism. They count, and it's going well for them right now, they count on people's ignorance about history. And our youth, globally, is completely ignorant about history. It's a shame. It's when you find out how little they know. And to some extent, some of the parents as well. It's very sad. It's very sad. I come from I'm going to be 65. I come from Europe, and back in my days, what we had to go through in France when we went to school, it was a lot. It was a lot. It was already more than America, and I'm not complaining. Like, I'm an American. I have an American passport. I love this country, America. I mean, but there's been a decline in people's desire to learn, and it's just it's part of the problem. So. Hamas claims that Israel is Palestinian land stolen and occupied by Jews. Brother Joe covered some of that this morning. Thank you for that. The truth about Palestinian identity. I want to show you a couple of things that I find fascinating. I found that out about, I don't want to say 10 years ago. So, what is this? That's the Palestinian flag, right? So you think. Okay, so that's the Palestinian flag. That's the one you see everywhere, the kids brandishing it and wrapping their bodies around it, wrapping it around their bodies, rather. And so that's the Palestinian flag. And this is the Jordanian flag. They kind of look the same except for that little white dot, that little white star. It's because if you ask me, most of the Palestinians are actually Transjordanians, but almost the same flag. Well, I have a dictionary. I have a copy of it. I don't want to bring it with me because it's fragile. It's from 1939, and that's a very smiling picture of Olivier holding the dictionary in his office. I could have smiled, I'm sorry. It looks terrible. But here is the dictionary. This is a 1939 Larousse dictionary. The one I have is the 270th edition. It was the 270th yearly edition in 1939. It's been going on for a long time, okay? And it keeps coming, new one every year. And in this dictionary, on the page, on the left page, this is 1939, so if you look at the German flag, this is what you're going to get. Allemagne, Germany, and you get the Nazi flag, because 1939, Germany is under Nazi control. No surprise there, right? You go to the right page, and third from the top, third from the left is the flag of Palestine. 1939. I'll let you decide what you think. I have that dictionary. I'm showing it to you in my hands. It's a real thing. It's not AI generated. 1939. Also, I have 3 of those. I like to collect coins. I love ancient coins. They don't have to be that ancient. This one happens to be 1927. I have 3 of those. It's a coin from, as you can tell, 1927, Philistine, Palestine, Palestina. 3 languages, the 3 languages that you see if you go to Israel, anywhere, except for the territories, as they call them, you see Hebrew, English, and Arabic. And Arabic says Philistine, Palestine, Palestina. But here's something interesting. In parenthesis on the left are 2 letters, the Aleph and the Yod. And the Aleph and the Yod stand in Israel for Eretz Yisrael. On the Palestinian coin of 1927, 21 years before 1948, the coin said that Palestine is the same as Eretz Yisrael, the land of Israel, just to be sure. This is part of history. I have 3 of those coins. And they're not hard to get, by the way. Okay? So there's two examples here. So Hamas Israel 2023. What it is, when you look at, I want to talk about what it is. Again, Hamas, heaviest Jewish death toll since the Holocaust. There's going to be a couple of difficult pictures coming in the next 5 or 6. Also, I'm trying to draw, it's not difficult actually, to draw parallels between, as I said last night, the 1930s and 40s and today. Because for the last 25 years that I have taught on the topic and written books and done conferences, I've been telling people it's coming. We are getting closer and closer to the 1930s and 40s. Friends, we have arrived. If you're doubting, just stay with me. We have arrived. We are in the repeat of the 1930s, and we know what's next if we look the other way and we remain bystanders. 1938, Kristallnacht, Berlin, night of 9th, 10th November 1938, pogroms and boycotts. All the front of the stores were broken, synagogues burned to the ground. Only about 200, maybe a few more than that, 200 Jewish people died during Kristallnacht. But Kristallnacht is to this day recognized as the starting date, the official starting date for the Holocaust. November 9, 10, the night of November 9th, 10th, 1938. The reason given for Kristallnacht when the Nazis were asked back then was this little Jewish kid, Herschel Grinspahn, killed a Nazi officer, Ernst von Rath, in Paris because he had killed his parents. And that precipitated Kristallnacht, which was the beginning of the Holocaust, which of course was not the reason, but that's the reason they gave. So that's 1938. 2023, Stars of David stenciled on buildings in Paris and suburb of Paris to identify where the Jews live. I don't see a difference. 2023. I don't see a difference, friends. I'm sorry. How about this? Okay, you've been warned. 1943. I don't know which camp it is. I think it's Auschwitz. I'm not sure. But it doesn't matter. You know what it is. Those are the ovens where they put the dead bodies after they put them in the gas chambers. One of them was my grandfather, Maurice Shimkovitz. So on top is a picture of the oven, and on the bottom is a picture of burning people alive in cars at the Hamas attack on October 7th. That's what happened. I don't see much of a difference either. How about this one? 1946, killing babies. 2023, Hamas in the kibbutz, killing babies. I could put more, but you're getting the idea. Hamas committed genocide, ethnic cleansing, crimes against humanity. Incidentally, those are all the words they're using on us. But that's what they're committing. Hamas committed a pogrom. A pogrom is an organized massacre of a particular ethnic group. This was exactly what took place on October 7, 2023. A massacre of a particular ethnic group, a pogrom. The pogroms usually are either condoned, organized, sometimes condoned by the police, so they don't look at it. That part is a little, maybe a little foggy, a little different, but the focal point of that attack was to just get a bunch of Israelis, kill as many as they could, and be as violent and as graphic as they could be, and as they continue to be. As we heard from Robin earlier, it was great to see Robin, and we heard the name, even the names recited in prayer by Jorge, the 6 victims that were just killed recently from the Hamas hostages. I wrote an article on my blog, shalomandmessiah.com blog. I gotta, promote myself. I wrote an article on my blog about the lack of moral equivalence when you compare the 6 hostages that were just killed, brutally killed, and filmed their last statement to be sent to the world. And on the other side of that coin, you have a Bedouin Muslim man rescued from the tunnels from Hamas by the IDF. The IDF risked their own men, their own lives, to rescue one Bedouin man, a Muslim, because he's an Israeli citizen, and because to the IDF and to Israel, he's a human being. On one side, we have a respect of the sanctity of human life, and on the other side, we have a worship of death. You cannot communicate on those two levels. There's no connection there. There's 2 different ideologies. It's impossible to communicate. But that's what you have to, when you think of Hamas, you have to think of that. And by the way, the numbers are still in the air right now, but it's between 50. I heard 73, and then I got another stat. It was more like 52. So between 52 and 73% of Palestinians in Gaza support Hamas. So they're not all victims. But this being said, they all need Jesus. All of them. But they're not all saying that Hamas is the problem. A lot of them support them. What's next? I forgot. Okay. I was in Israel in June. Lord willing, I'll be back there on the week of October 7th, if we can fly there. Right now, it's all in the air, no pun intended. But this is a 1,400-car cemetery created from the Hamas terror attack. We hired a guy who showed us around the south. We went to Sderot. We went to the festival. We looked at the site of the festival. there was a lady, and I should have put this in the presentation. I went into in the south, by Sderot, by the Hamas, by the Gaza border, every bus stop is a bus stop, and right next to it is looks like another bus stop made of concrete. It's a bomb shelter, right next to it. And it's not that way not necessarily in Jerusalem, but in the south, because of the proximity to the Gaza Strip. Every bus stop on the Israel side, every bus stop has a bomb shelter. On the day of the attack, a lot of the people would just go in the bomb shelter, and I walked into a bomb shelter. We stopped the car, I walked into a bomb shelter, and there was this woman looking, and there was a bunch of graffiti and pictures taped and candles and from the attack as memorials, and she's looking and she's crying, and I go, oh, I'm so sorry, and I back up to go out to give her space, and she goes, no, that's okay, let me tell you why I'm crying. So I filmed her, and she said it was okay, she wanted to share, and she said that this was a bus shelter that's good for 10 to 12 people. She said in that bus shelter there were 40 people that piled on top of each other, and Hamas threw 8 grenades. And the people on top, I think 16 people died from the grenades, and the people under survived. And she said one of her daughter or son, I forgot, friend, died in that pile of body that was piled up to try to be protected from the attack. And her son was outside the bus shelter, and he was there, and he was a beautiful young Israeli man, and I came out and I looked at him, and I was all teary-eyed, and I go, so can I just shake your hand? And I praise God that you're still alive. And in a very Israeli fashion, he looks at me and he goes, I don't shake hand. I believe in hugs. So we hugged. And I can show you pictures during the break if you're interested. But anyway, so that's a 1,400 car cemetery created from the Hamas terror attack. And I'm going with the guide, and I'm looking at all the cars, and I'm going like, there's a sticker on every car, like 8.5 by 11 piece of paper with a big Hebrew letter and a number. And I go, what is that? And he said, this is to tell the people here in this big cemetery repository of cars that this car has been inspected for human remains. And it's clear. Hamas also booby-trapped the cars, the mind. They booby-trapped the cars because they knew that Israel would come back and look for bodies. They put grenades inside the cars. That's how evil these people are. I want to invite you to go. This is a good friend of mine, Pastor Brendan Holthouse. We did an interview. The second day we were in Israel together in June. We interviewed an IDF soldier. That's not the IDF soldier. That's Brendan. We interviewed an IDF soldier who told us his story. He was one of the. He was in that group of soldiers who, remember, at the beginning of the rescue effort, one day they rescued 4 people. And he was one of the soldiers who was there rescuing the 4 people. So he told us his story, and we have video. Of course, we don't show his face, but you really want to. I don't want to spend the time, but you really want to watch that video on the YouTube channel. And if you do, you better subscribe. Global anti-Semitism has been unleashed with an unprecedented destructive agenda. This is where we are right now. And let me see, what's the... Okay, so I've got some numbers for you. You probably already know that. Numbers are up, and those numbers are actually probably not accurate anymore. It's probably more than that. But USA 500%, UK 1,300%, Austria 300%, Germany 240%. Those numbers I got recently from B'nai B'rith in Canada. Anti-Semitism incident in 2022, 2769, 2023, 5791. Doubled. You already know that, okay? I got those numbers from, those are the numbers from your country, from 95 to 2003. You see the curve? It keeps going up, and then all of a sudden, it just skyrockets. That's where we are right now. And of course, you all know what's happened at your university in May and June of this year. What I found interesting, and maybe you know that, or maybe you don't, almost half of the people that actually were causing havoc on in the University of Toronto were professors. That to me was amazing. That you think it's kids, or there was like outside agitators 76, professors from other universities 31. So if you put the professors together, you got 153 out of 248. It's more than half. And then students 19. I thought there was an imbalance here that was very unhealthy, actually. That more than half of the people causing the problem were professors, and I saw some of the videos. I can't put them all on the PowerPoint because it's too much. It would be too long, and then we would miss lunch, so we can't do that. From the river to the sea, Palestine shall be free. You've heard this. This is basically just a euphemism for the complete annihilation of all Jewish people. You've seen probably videos on YouTube where young people on campuses are asked, what river, what sea, and they are clueless. Well, the river of Palestine and the sea, the Dead Sea, they don't know. They don't know. It sounds good. It sounds like it's a social justice motto. It's like I'm all for social justice and for the victims and they're clueless. It's very sad. But this is a euphemism for kill the Jews. That's it. It doesn't mean anything else. Some know that. Most don't. But some know that and they still use it. Did I miss a slide here? Yes. Did we go too far? Oh, yeah. Oh, wait a minute. I'm doing it again. I'm going forward instead of backward. Every time I come to Canada, I'm messed up. It's what? Don't blame Canada. I'm always messed up. Thank you. So, Hamas pogrom unleashed anti-Semitism on a global scale. This is the streets of New York. I mean, you see it. What's amazing to me is that, I've been speaking against anti-Semitism since 2000. I've been writing. I wrote, out of the 7 books I have, 4, I could say 5 actually, one is mostly on it. 5 out of 7 are on the topic. And I continue to do this until the Lord calls me home or until He tells me to do something else. But right now it seems like it's more of it. I cannot watch anything on TV anymore since October 7th, on any given day, any given station, without hearing the word anti-Semitism anymore. It's everywhere. It's out of the box, and it's not going back, friends. That's why I said last night, I'm going to say it again, anti-Semitism, we are not going to be able to stop it. People, I don't wear a shirt that says stop anti-Semitism because I can't. Only Jesus will stop it when He returns. But what we can do is we're at the place now where we're going to continue to be a voice against it, absolutely. Do everything to expose it. That's part of what we do at our ministry. But beyond that, if we can't stop it and we see people being hurt by it, what do we do to protect these people? That's where we are right now, and that's my challenge coming to you in a few minutes. So, here is South Florida. Here is something that always brought tears to my eyes at the beginning of, this is a photo that it's probably a month into the like in October, November probably. NYU students, NYU is very Jewish by the way, go figure. NYU students tearing down flyers of Israeli hostages on the streets, on campuses, saying like, this is fake news, they don't exist, they're not real, we don't want this here. This is trying to erase Jewish identity, trying to erase the right to exist, trying to push the Jews into oblivion. That's Paris. That's the, you couldn't tell by the flags, but that's Paris. That's the Place de la République in the center of Paris. I've been there many times. It's usually when people gather to do big protests. That's in Yemen. That's a little bigger here. Not a very happy Netanyahu there for a reason. The Red Cross has done absolutely nothing to help the situation with the hostages. Why is that? The rest of the world they do, but and in this case they've been silent. 64%, this is a new development, friends, and it's not going to go away. It's not going to go away. 64% of Jewish teens consider anti-Semitism now an important factor in their college search because of what's happening at Harvard, Columbia, Penn State, and other schools. They now go like, I really want to go to this Ivy school, but not if I have to take off my yarmulke, not if I have to hide my Jewish identity, if I cannot wear a Star of David, or even have light the Shabbat candles in my dorm on Friday night. If I can't do all that, then I'm scared. The Jewish people are scared. The irony is that the only place where Jews are not scared right now is Israel. And that country is fighting a war on possibly 7 fronts. But their people actually have their back. The government in Israel has the Jewish people's back. The rest of the world, they don't care. There are people who care. I'm looking at some right now. Of course there are people who care, but the vast majority of the world, in accordance to what we expect from Zechariah 12:3, the whole world will go against Jerusalem. We're seeing this being set up right now. But don't forget Zechariah 12:9. 12:3 is the world goes against the Jews. 12:9, the same chapter, 6 verse later, God is going after all those who went after Jerusalem. So, like Joe said, quoting our good friend Larry Rich, we read the book, we know the end of the story. But it doesn't mean it's not going to have casualties, and that's where we can make a difference. So let's keep moving. I have no idea how much time I have left. I have 10 minutes left? Yes? Half an hour? Oh. That didn't come from Jorge, and Jorge is, the boss. How about this? February 2024 in Davos, Switzerland, in a ski shop, they stopped renting equipment to Jews. They just said, in the Hebrew on the door, they said, after a series of annoying incidents, including the theft of a sled, we're no longer renting our sporting equipment to our Jewish brothers. One family was late in returning, or they stole the equipment. They happened to be Jewish. Last night I told you, when the myth of the greedy Jew started in the Middle Ages, people said, from that point on now, all Jews are greedy. And you still hear it to this day. You Jewed me down, or Jews love money. They are so, greedy, and they want more money. They want to control the banks. And are there bad Jewish people who are greedy? Absolutely. Gentiles too. Sorry. You had to break the news, Again, it's not because they didn't steal the equipment because they were Jewish. They stole the equipment because they were not honest. They're fallen people. They're sinners. They're just like you and I. And they make their own choice. But as a result of their choice, that shop said, oh, yeah, it's the Jews. We know it's the Jews, so we're not renting to Jews anymore. How about this? This is so removed from reality that it's mind-boggling. There's an article on this on my blog as well. I had to write something on this. March of 2024, University of Cambridge, England. This is a painting of Lord Balfour in Cambridge. I've never seen it, but you see the size of it. Here is a student spray painting red paint on the face of the paint. Priceless painting. And then cutting the painting. Why is that? Because Lord Balfour in 1917 wrote a 55 or 57-word short letter declaring that Her Majesty the Queen is saying that it's okay for Jews to go back to their ancestral biblical land of Palestine. Back then it was called Palestine. But so that Balfour Declaration started the process of the Jews going back to the land. There was not just that. There was the Balfour Declaration, the San Remo Conference, and there was several things that happened back to back to back. But that started the process, the official process. So Lord Balfour was instrumental in writing the Balfour Declaration that started the process for the Jews to go back. That led to, by the grace of God, the rebirth of the modern nation of Israel. And so there are Jews today. We don't like the Jews in Israel. Lord Balfour was responsible, was a catalyst to this whole process. So a painting of him is a problem. The same artist who painted Lord Balfour was famous at the time, in the turn of the century, for painting famous people. I think he was from Hungary. And he painted a very famous portrait of Benito Mussolini, the Italian dictator of World War II. That painting is safe because Balfour is a worse person than Benito Mussolini, so nobody cares about Benito Mussolini. It's still safe. It's still hanging somewhere in a museum. June 2024, 2 synagogues at 2 churches attacked in Muslim Dagestan, Russia. One synagogue was burned to the ground, 19 people died. You might have not even heard of that. There was also a pogrom, an attempted pogrom at an airport soon after October 7th, when Jews got on a plane from Tel Aviv, got to that Dagestan airport, which is a part of Russia that apparently is very Muslim, and they just, when the plane emptied out into the building, the Israelis were chased. They had to hide in different rooms and lock the doors, and it had all the red flags of a pogrom. I don't think anybody got killed, but it was very scary. June 2024, a couple of months ago, a Paris suburb, this little girl, 12-year-old Jewish girl, raped and murdered for being Jewish. Just for being Jewish. We are back in the 30s and 40s, friends. This is 2 months ago in Paris. Okay? 2 young Algerian boys called her a dirty Jew as they raped her. She was dirty, but not dirty enough not to be raped, I guess. Nonsense. June 24, Jewish Virtual Library. I don't know if you know about this site. You need to know about this site. This is a very, very good resource. The man, Mitchell Bard, not a believer, but has done a tremendous amount of research, serious research. He sources everything very well. He's written a book, Myths and Facts About the Middle East Conflict. Everybody should have this book, but he also gives it for free on his website as a PDF. He's got all the questions and the answers. It's quick to read. It's a lot of endnotes, liner notes, sources. It's excellent. I go there all the time. The website is jewishvirtuallibrary.org. Fantastic. Make a note of it. And you know he's not paying me for that. So it's that site and the ADL, where the Jewish Virtual Library and ADL are being censored for being biased about Israel and the Middle East. Being censored. What does that remind you of? This. See book burning during the Holocaust era. Cultural incineration. That's what it reminds me of. Information being censored. We don't like what you say, we're going to destroy it. June 24, Los Angeles, Jewish people beaten on the street in front of a synagogue. The police was asked to stand down. Now you're talking pogrom. Stand down. They were asked not to do anything. It's a video. I just showed you a picture because the video is unbearable to watch. There was the same thing in New York. So, good friend, who knows Avner Bosky? Okay, yes, some of you, I'm sure you do. A good friend, I got this from one of his writing recently, and I thought it was very telling. In light of the fast-paced events now happening in Israel and the Middle East, it is worth remembering that the Bible does not ask the question, how does Israel fit in with superpower strategies or Islamist jihadi plans? Rather, the question that the Bible raises is, how do all these superpowers and Islamist nations fit into Yahweh's good plans for Israel? That's the perspective we need to keep. It's not the other way around. The biblical perspective. Of course, cannot not quote this encouraging verse from Jeremiah 31, 35 through 37. Thus says Yahweh, who gives the sun for light by day and the statutes for the moon and the stars for light by night, who stirs up the sea so that its waves roar. Yahweh of hosts is his name. If these statutes are removed from before me, declares Yahweh, then the seed of Israel also will cease from being a nation before me forever. Thus says Yahweh, if the heavens above can be measured and the foundation of the earth searched out below, then I will also reject all the seeds of Israel for all that they have done, declares Yahweh. No way, Jose, it's not going to happen. You cannot destroy Israel. But what I like is at the end of the verse, it says, I will reject all the seed of Israel for all that they have done. the point here is God is making is that I know that Israel has disobeyed, as we've heard from Joe as well this morning, so well explained. I know that Israel has disobeyed. I know that Israel has not followed my command, but my love for Israel is not dependent on Israel's performance, but on my character and on my promises and on my covenants. So God reminds us there that, no, I'm not going to forsake Israel. You cannot count all the stars. I'm never going to forsake Israel. But I know that I should because of all the disobedience I have noticed. But my covenants, 4 of the 5 covenants that God made with Israel, are unconditional. The only one is the Mosaic covenant. But 4, the Abrahamic, the land, the Davidic, and the new, are unconditional. It's God saying, hey, I'm going to bless you. No strings attached. So that's an important scripture. So the question now, in the few minutes I have left, is what can believers do? Well, of course, people are going to come to me and say, well, I pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Well, that's great. Thank you. Thank you for your prayers. We need them every day, all the time. But there's more. I don't think that we're going to be able to stop this influx of hatred that we see right now. It's going to get worse. I mean, seriously, friends, if you watch the news, it's getting worse every single day. So what are we to do? Well, about 5 years ago, and this is truly, I'm going to wrap this up, Jorge, probably 5-6 minutes. Okay, are we good? I really don't want to infringe. He's going like, talk. Okay, so 5 years ago, I was still with Chosen People Ministries, and I got involved on a side project of a network of like-minded believers, like-minded Christians, who all saw the same thing. They said, when it gets to the place where it's dangerous for the Jews, and talking about America right now, North America, including Canada, where are they going to go? They're not going to immediately overnight all make aliyah. Where are they going to go? So Christians starting to come together and say, hey, they can come to my house. They can stay with us. I live in the country. I live in this place, that place. You know, it's amazing that for the 26 years that I was with Chosen People Ministries, I was invited in a lot of places. We talk, we speak in churches all the, and I would go to the middle of nowhere, America, and then drive another 10 miles, and then I get to the church. And then the pastor would say, would you teach us how to reach Jewish people? I said, sure, if that's what you want, I'll do it. And I'm thinking, why? There's not one Jew in your small town. I know that for sure. I did it repeatedly, not really knowing why I was doing it. And here we are, fast forward to today. I'm working with this network that is putting Christians on a private, secure, not advertised network of people saying, if a Jewish family wants shelter, they can come to my house. I'll take care of them. Just like what happened during the war with my mother when she was hidden on the southwest of France on a farm for 2 years, the last 2 years of the war, by a couple of farmers with no money, nothing. They hid my mother and her 2 cousins on their farm for the last 2 years of the war, and she survived because of that. And they became, in 2013, their name was inscribed on the wall at Yad Vashem as righteous among the nations. I look at the passage in Matthew 25, 31 through 46 about the goats and the sheep, and I look at this and I go, hey, now, again, I told you last night, I'll tell you again, I'm pre-everything. I'm pre-meal, pre-trib. I don't even eat post-cereal to be sure, just to be safe. By the way, I stole that joke from Arnold Furtenbaum. It's not mine. I stole it. I give him the credit. But I believe that the principle of the Gentiles who will help the Jews during the tribulation at the risk of their own lives, and those who will look away and be bystanders and do nothing, or even give away some Jews, like some people did with my grandfather who died in Auschwitz, I believe that that principle can be applied today Don't wait for that to be applied to the Jews during the tribulation. Apply it today. If you're a believer, if you're a Christian, if you understand the place of Israel, if you understand the times we live in, be ready. Be ready. That network has been growing. And because it was growing and I had to volunteer a lot of my time because we don't raise money, we don't advertise, we don't exist as an organization. It's private and secure. Otherwise it wouldn't be safe. Then I had to make a choice. I cannot keep growing this thing that I see that we need right now. We're going to need even more, and continue in good faith, ethically, work at Chosen People Ministries. So I had to say goodbye to Chosen People Ministries after 26 years. That's the reason why. I don't share all the details with a lot of people, but this is a Chosen People Ministries conference, so I feel like I want to, because there's a connection. That's why I had to say I have to step down, because this is where I'm going. And so we started Shalom and Messiah. So now, in the last minute, I promise. Oh yeah, I wanted to show this to you. I'm sorry. 2 minutes. This is very short. Okay. I lied. Okay, so as we're getting ready to really prepare ourselves, this is the end of the very last part of Schindler's List, when they give him a ring that says, he who saves the soul saves the whole world, from the Talmud.
Hebrew from the Talmud. It says, whoever saves one life saves the world entire. Oscar, there are 1,100 people who are alive because of you. Look at them.
If I'd made more money. I threw away so much money. You have no idea. If I just...
There will be generations because of what you did.
I didn't do enough.
You did so much.
I don't want to have to answer to my Messiah and say I did not do enough. I want to do as much as I can. So I invite you to go to our website. You see the Connect button there? Conveniently located next to the Donate button. In passing. Connect button will take you to this. And then the very last one says, I'm interested in joining the network that Olivier spoke about. You click that box, you're going to get an email with a few questions that's going to lead you to another email, a series of questionnaire. It's a vetting process. Because I speak at a lot of conferences where a lot of people watch. We don't know if they're all friendly, so we have to vet. Okay, but we're not raising money. We're not advertising. There's no brochure. There's nothing. It's just me telling you it exists. It's growing daily. And it's amazing what the Lord is doing. And if the Lord puts it on your heart, we want you to be part of it, because that's where we are. So I want to make sure that you visit, connect, click, and also you can click anything you want for free on there. But make sure you pray about it and you connect with Shalom and Messiah. If you scan that very subtle QR code, that will connect you to the website right now. And would you come and join me and pray with me right now? I'm going to put you on the spot, Jorge. I want to ask you to pray for our ministry. But I don't think it's going to be difficult, right?
That clip from Schindler's List, the music just gets to me all the time, but the message as well.
We can all do something.
Father, thank you for Olivier, thank you for his heart and his passion, and I pray, Lord, that you continue to bless his ministry where you call him to be, to do, with his experience of so many years, and his background, his family history, all the things that you prepared him for such a time as this. I pray that you continue to use him as you use him here, everywhere you send him, to create awareness among Christians and non-Christians about the need to love the Jewish people, love Israel, support, stand up, defend, and even host in their homes, as this website is designed for. So, Father, I pray that you bless Shalom and Messiah Ministry, that bless him in as many ways as possible. Financially, with people, with resources, with invitations, and put in people's heart the desire to help him. So thank you for our friendship, for our shared love of Israel and your ministry. And Father, continue to use him and us as we partner together to put your message out that the only hope is Messiah for Jews and Gentiles alike. We leave it all in your hands. B'Shem Yeshua Moshiachenu. Amen. Thank you. God bless you, my brother.